This is just going to be a quick video on how to flash the RNode firmware for using Sideband or MeshChat over the Reticulum network stack via the Web Flasher. I'm just going to plug it into my computer here, load up the Web Flasher. My Heltec V3 is going to boot up with the old Meshtastic firmware that I have on there, but that doesn't matter. Once it's connected, I'm going to select Heltec V3 from the list. I'm going to select my model, in this case the 915 unit. I'm going to select the firmware to flash, and I've downloaded the RNode firmware from the official GitHub repo there, and I've selected it. I'm now going to flash it and select my Heltec V3 device from the drop down. You'll see it's going to go to a blank screen, and it's going to start flashing the firmware. Once the firmware has finished flashing, the node should reboot automatically when it gets to 100%. There we go. And on the screen you're going to see hardware failure. So what we now need to do is dismiss the firmware flash dialog, and we now need to provision the EEPROM on the device. So I'm going to select my RNode again. That's going to set that. It will reboot. It is now rebooted, and you can see some additional options down the bottom there. This step takes a little bit of time, but now you can see it says firmware corrupt. So the next step that I'm going to do is come back to the Web Flasher, and I'm going to set the firmware hash. This should be calculated automatically during flashing, however this is not done yet. So I'm going to set the firmware hash. You'll see the board reboots and all of the device checks have passed, and the RNode is ready to go. We don't need to do any of the TNC config or Bluetooth config. We can now just plug this RNode device into MeshChat or Sideband and configure it from there.